Hi everyone, it is day 20 of our yoga journey here on Move with Katie, and today we are going to be studying one quick practice with a challenge for the weekend. So we've talked about how there are many practices aside from that physical practice of asana, but we have only talked about the niyamas so far, which is how we interact with ourselves. So this week, I'd like to focus on one of the yamas of yoga, which is how we interact with the world. So this yama is called Ahimsa, and it might be one you've heard of before. It is fairly popular to be talked about in especially yogic circles, but Ahimsa means non-violence. And I think this is a really important place for us to start because the way with which we move around the world can have a great impact on the people and the animals and the plants that we meet. And so it really is important for us to keep this idea in mind of being nonviolent whenever possible. And the Dalai Lama might say that that is always possible. And so for your challenge this week, I'm going to encourage you to take a look at the work of Marshall Rosenberg, who is the author of Nonviolent Communication. In his book, he talks a lot about the way that we speak to each other and the importance of the words that we use. One thing that I will emphasize here is that he discusses the word should, and how the word should is one of the more violent words we can say because it implies that things ought to be different than they already are, when in reality, they couldn't have been anything but what they actually were. This is part of that being in the present moment kind of action. So when you go and interact with the world, you might see that here in this present moment, I think that this child, adult, other person, animal should be behaving in a different way. And so I respond to them with cruelty. Whereas if I were to think, wow, that is how they're behaving, and then adjust my response to their behavior, then I could avoid some of the violent confrontation that takes place in the world. So here's my challenge to you. This weekend or week to practice Ahimsa, when you find yourself thinking that something should be another way, I'd encourage you to sit with the fact that it is the way that it is right now. And then from there, extend how might you respond in a way that helps make the situation better, that helps make things grow. Where if you see, for example, a dog who is in distress, who is barking, instead of yelling at it and thinking that dog should be quiet, thinking, I wonder what's upsetting it. What happened to that animal? What trauma might be arising that I can help avoid by either walking to the other side of the street or asking their owner if they need help? What could I do that would avoid that should situation, that violent response within myself that doesn't improve the world outside of me? What might I do to respond in a more nonviolent way? I know that's a big task, but I think it's one worth practicing. So go out there and move some hearts and minds. Thanks, y'all, and we'll see you again tomorrow. Bye.